you've made some awesome points, right? That are really eye opening for people, right? I think homeless people are everywhere, right? They're in every state, every city, every country, right? You see them everywhere, and I think we grow up around people experiencing homelessness, right? And so your whole life, if it's something that's always been there, it's not a problem that's been solved yet, right? And people are always gonna have hard things happen to them, like you said, right? Everyone is essentially maybe always 2 paychecks away, right? From being homeless, at least middle and lower class, maybe perhaps, right? But I think like what it really comes down to is it's just like you can't judge a book by its cover. I mean, we've been taught that since we were in kindergarten, right? But what that comes down to is like just ask, just talk.
Yeah.
If you see a homeless individual, right? Maybe you're right. They very well could be on drugs, right? They very well could be a robber. They very well could have a felony, right? That's all very realistic. Those things could happen.
The
right?
likelihood is very high.
And the likelihood's high. So maybe you're not wrong in that stereotype. But the thing you never know is their character, their story, and their dreams, right?
Yeah.
And there are more things I could list there, right? But like those are, and this is from my perspective of trying to help, right? And that's the case for everyone, right? Everyone has their story, everyone has their reasoning, everyone needs help in some form, right? Or some way. And you're not walking around with one Band-Aid and saying this is going to fix all your problems.
Yeah.
And you're not going to know what that solution is or how to help with the root of the problem until you have that conversation. And so I think like my shout out to people watching from what I've heard from you would be just ask people their stories, right? Which will teach you a lot. And maybe that brings us to how we met, right?
Yeah.
I went to Provo and I was like, there's got to be a BYU fan out there that's homeless. And it would be awesome to help someone that's experienced homelessness have a good day, right? That was my intention. I'm like, let's go have a fun day. Like BYU game. I love BYU. Always been a fan.
Absolutely.
Knew it was going to be a fun game, right? Go Cougs. And so I went to Provo. I'm like, I want to find a BYU fan, right?
Sure.
And so I was walking around the library and ran into you, right? And we kind of began our story there and started talking there. And like one thing I always do, and I kind of got in a little bit of your story as we were talking, is I jumped in and said, hey, I want to go to the BYU game. I'm going to film it, right? Like, I'm going to film this. I'm going to take a camera. We'll have a videographer, that sort of stuff. We're going to film us going to the game together,
Sure.
right? We're going to document this story. And I'm sure I said something which I always do along the lines of I want people to do the same kind of thing and give back and help people and hear more stories and hear your story throughout the video.
Yeah.
But what I'd like to kind of discuss now is like, what made you want to do that, right? I mean, I very well, like if you had said, don't film me, I had 2 tickets to the game, I had not found another person, you literally had a BYU tattoo on your chest still too, right?
I know.
Like
right?
I would have taken you, right?
Yeah,
it's not like,
sure.
my philosophy is I'm not like, okay, you don't want to be in the video? Okay, sorry, like good luck with homelessness, right? Like I do want to truly help everyone we come in contact with, but what were your initial thoughts? I'm just curious. What were your initial thoughts when I came to you with that? Hey, let's go to a BYU game. Come spend the day with me. We'll get your haircut. Of course, maybe there were like those incentives like, oh, I get my haircut. Maybe I'll get a good meal. Like some things that like you need, right?
Sure.
But what else? Was there any other overlying reason that made you want to do that?
Honestly, what was going through my head is, okay, crazy. What's the catch?
Yeah.
Seriously, it's
Yeah.
like, what's the catch? And what time are you going to bring the bishop over and have him interview me to excommunicate me and then have me
Okay.
baptized again? This is the
stuff that you're
delusional
actually
crap
thinking
that's like
through.
going through my head.
Maybe religious ties.
Because,
yeah.
I mean, born and raised LDS, and I went
Okay.
on a Mormon mission, but I haven't been in the LDS church, nor would I claim to be a member of the LDS church for 20 plus years at this point, But that's, I mean, being right by BYU, and it's like, okay, I've been around here. I know, I know the deal. So what's the catch with that is it, state conference and so on. I was really hesitant, to be honest. And not only that, but I mean, just positive, good things haven't felt like they were happening to me up to that point, that with all of the tumble down to get down to, what hopefully, is, a bottom, is the bottom, so that, it's on the way up now. But it felt like everything always and it was always turned out to be some negative thing, some negative way. And so it was just like, okay, we'll see. We'll see. You know,
But you showed up, right? We showed up, went to the game. What was that day like
what
for
else
you?
was I gonna do?
Okay,
It's
fair
not.
enough.
I mean, it's not like I was out solving world hunger or anything like that.
Okay.
You know,
Not yet.
I was busy. You know,
Yeah.
putting some transistors into a box and then changing the way because I didn't want to do it numerically. I wanted to do it by color. I don't know,
Okay.
something crazy like
Organizing
that.
something.
Yeah, I mean, something crazy like that where you're just hyper fixated on the only things you can control in your life.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what comes out of me is that the only things I can control in my life are these small things. And so I organize them and I
Yeah.
put them into boxes that make sense.
Yeah.
And then my world makes sense to me.
Yeah.
But it's this small.
Yeah.
You know, it's so focused on the minutia and hyper focused on these little things. Whereas most people are going to go, oh, just throw that all out and go buy exactly what you need,
Yeah.
And I'm just like, no, these are the things that I can control in their mind because it feels like everything else out there, including most of my life, is just out of my control, which in reality it is. If you think about it,
Yeah.
it really is. I mean, that's the whole idea of AA and, the serenity prayer, is grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference,
Yeah.
is the acknowledgement that, and you're not in control. And with addiction, that's a big thing. I mean, addicts, one of their main characteristics of an addict is wanting to be in control of everything.
Yeah.
Not just themselves, but other people's stories, how other people view them,
Yeah.
all of that. And so I mean, that's where I was at. I was hyper focused, fixated on this, and while I had some ideas of what I might like to do, it was always like, if I stopped heading that direction, and it seemed like anything I would try, setting up accounts and creating things, and it would just, I'd hit a dead end. And so, at that point, it's like, you just need someone. I had a couple of family around, but they weren't really, like I said, they were fixated on their stuff.
They've got their lives.
Their lives, their jobs, their dating, their this, their that. And like, okay, that's great. But I needed somebody to come into my life, honestly, at that time. And I mean, I'm sorry it was you, man, but thanks.
I'm not, man. I was happy to meet you.
I was really grateful. I'd been wanting to cut my hair for a long time, but I started to do the whole thing. So I'm sitting them through with the minoxidil, trying to thicken it out and stuff like that. And so I didn't want to cut it yet.
Okay.
But then okay, all right, it's time. I mean, it was long. You saw it. It was like 6-7 years worth of growth. I hadn't cut it since like before COVID had started.
Well, yeah.
And
it was
so it was a big change, but it feels a lot better. I mean, I like it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back and keep it, cut.
Yeah.
It feels like I'm dressing for the direction I want to go instead of for where I am and how I view myself.
Sure.
Because that's how other people will view me, right? So.
Yeah, I mean, your outward appearance, sadly says a lot, right, to society, which I think we need to change that as a society, right, in a lot of ways. But I think there is something about, taking care of yourself and like, pointing yourself in the direction that you want to go, for sure. There are obviously like a lot of eyes on your story, right? A lot of people have seen, at least us go to the game. People have seen, that, feel good experience of just like seeing you have a good day, right, amidst maybe where you've kind of been, right? And I think a lot of, like I said, like a lot of people are watching this and a lot of people are cheering you on, honestly. Like the comments on the videos and the outreach and the DMs, and like everyone wants you to have your dream life. Everyone wants you to be happy. Everyone wants you to have that in your life, right? And it's been inspiring for me to see. That's really the only feedback we've received is, we want what's best for Matt. We want Matt to have everything he wants in life, and everyone thinks that. I know your family thinks that. I know that your friends think that. The people you've grown up with, despite where they've been, they all think that. Me included, like we're all rooting for you, right? Everybody wants you to live your dream life, to be your happy self, right? In your way, in the way that you want it to be. That's what life is about, right? Accomplishing your dreams, doing the things you want to.
I didn't even watch the whole video, to be honest. I don't like
you
watching,
lived it.
I don't like watching myself. I don't know. It's like, I don't know how it's edited. If it's that, then it's that, and so be it. So I hope is that it helps people have some awareness, and that
Absolutely.
maybe it just draws one person in if that's the case, to where they're willing to even, because that was a big thing, like you said, for me, was go ask someone, go talk to a homeless person, because
Yeah.
you might have this judgment. And guess what? You're right. They might smell like shit.
Yeah.
And they could use help with that because they just don't have the awareness. I mean, you're over there paying for a shower for me, because I haven't showered for 2 weeks. And I came from a home like, 2 or 3 months before, normal every day. And I just can't wrap my head around it because it's just such a dramatic change.
Yeah.
And I want people to, you said everybody's cheering you on. Everybody wants these things. They think these things, and that's wonderful.
Yep.
But your thoughts and your prayers are not going to put food in a bowl in front of me.
Yeah.
And I hate to say that, and I say it very, because that's stuff to make you feel good, not me.
Yep.
You want to go say that comment. You want to go, get on your knees, and that's wonderful. I'll never hear that prayer, and I doubt I'll read that comment, and I doubt I'll ever hear you say, I want this for you. So then what is it? What is actually going to help this person? What is going to make the difference for this person? And it's showing up is literally it. Them feeling like they've got some community behind them. And I don't mean online. I mean, I don't even use the internet anymore, hardly. I mean, I was in software engineering, for heaven's sakes, and I hardly use the internet. When my phone's in my pocket, the data is turned off, Bluetooth is turned off, and 90% of the time the phone is completely turned off.
Yeah.
Because it's not life. It's not real.
Mm-hmm.
It's not real. All that comment and that rah, rah, rah that you posted are a bunch of ones and zeros on a server that in 5 years, no one's going to give a shit about or ever look at again.
Yeah.
And that's just the truth of it. But you show up for this person and you've paid enough attention and you've talked to them. There's one guy that I pointed out to you on the way up here, and his name's Brian. And I've talked to him. I've gone over and sat down next to him. He likes to sit on the shore and just watch the ducks. And we'll have conversations about the ducks. And he likes to read.
Yeah.
And these are things that I log away in my head. And so my thing is like, okay, I'm going to get him books. I'm going to make sure. I'm not just going to walk over and hand him a book. I'm going to set it, close enough that he's going to pick it up. He's going to know it's there, and he's going to read it, but it didn't come from a person, and so it kind of adds this like little air of like, where did this come on? What is this? And why did they know exactly what, type of thing? Because they've been paying attention. And there's so many of me out there.
Yeah.
It's just a weird thing to say, but there's so many of me that I listen to people's stories. I just met this other guy 2 days ago, and I have an extra electric bike that I need to fix up. There's a couple of things on it that I need to fix. And he needs an electric bike to go to work because he just barely got out of homelessness himself. And his story was so similar to mine. It's just the difference was his mom died instead of where it was this woman that I had dated and who really I look at as a mentor and just a friend, you know. But his mom died, and I'm talking to him, and I'm just like, man, I can't even imagine. Mine was this, but I mean, that's your mom, And so he went, into nosedive and was in homelessness for quite a while until he was finally able to pick up some housing and some work and stuff like that. But there's so many of me out, so many people with the same story, with the same, and people don't, I'm a very vocal. I'll interact with you. I'll talk with you, I'll still dress so I can kind of pass as if I walk home and I don't, cover myself with a cardboard box because I have to. I feel like I need to, whatever ego in me needs that is there. So, also I don't like to stink, but, but most people, they're not going to approach me.
Yeah.
You're literally one of the only, if not the only person who's approached me, where it's not me approaching them and just, interacting with them just to give them a different perspective of what a homeless person is.
Yeah.
they see me and I carry all my valuables with me because I've had so much stuff stolen, and they don't approach me.
Yeah.
They look at me like, like I'm scary or like I don't even know, I can't even tell like I'm a zombie or like I'm diseased and I've had places kick me out and tell me that they won't serve me.
Yeah.
I've had
Wow.
places say that no, we can't, we can't give you food, we can't this, and I've had rude comments. I've had,
Yeah.
people walk by and just flippantly saying, stuff like, well, you should have spent all your money on drugs, and it's just like, oh, girl, you have no freaking
Yeah.
idea what
No
you're
idea.
talking about, what I've been through, what any of these other people have been through, because
Yeah.
honestly, it would probably put you 6 feet under. You got it, mom, dad, they pay for it. Great, but you
You
just
don't know.
don't and you're just one really horrible event away from being right here with me.
Yeah.
And then it's not, oh, drug, it's, yeah, that's life.
Yeah.
And it happens. Well, what do you do when it does happen and you can't drag yourself out?
Yeah.
Other people needed to honestly, approach me. My family wasn't showing up. These people just weren't showing up. And so, I mean, literally and it isn't even so much that we've given you this or we've done this, so much as it's something to focus on outside of the homelessness.
Yeah.
And then I started thinking, see, there's a possibility of a direction, because you said you've got, people that can help and other types of, support in line
Yeah.
that can help direct me back to a job or whatever. And just knowing that that's there gives me hope that, okay, I can decide on a direction and possibly start taking
Absolutely.
steps that way. Before it felt like I was just spinning in circles because, okay, I'm going to go this way, take a step that way, and just everything crumbles right in front of you, whether it be losing my food stamps, losing, I lost my wallet, I lost my ID, I had my cell phone stolen, all these things. And, I start moving a direction and I can't. And so I just have to,
Yeah.
pivot and I can't do the normal, observe, orient, decide of what I'm going to do and then act and go that
Yeah.
way because that way is not even lit at
Right.
all,
Yeah.
But then when there's someone there who says, pick a direction, you decide what you want to do and whatever that is, I'll help facilitate it in any way that I possibly can, that's healthy
Yeah.
for our relationship. That just means everything in the world because it's like, okay, there's a lantern out there, or however you want to look at it. The pathway's lit a little bit further on, and these things are a possibility. And so
Yeah.
now I'm out here going like, okay, well, I'm coming up with business, proposals and trying to work with Voc Rehab and
Yeah.
really start something that's a trajectory that's more towards a goal, as opposed to seeing how I can get enough money to pick up some Betos or whatever.
Yeah. Get a burrito.
Exactly.
Well, Matt, we could turn off the lights and mics and shut this down because I think you hit the nail on the head, right? Like that's exactly what this is about, right? It's not about likes and comments and viewership, right? It's about the action that people can take to change a life, right? If it's viewers helping us change your life, great, because I know that you're going to be able to go on and change thousands of people's lives in your life, right? But if they even just see a homeless person on the street and they go talk to them and they do something to take action rather than just, oh yeah, I can tell someone about that homeless person or I know that, right? If you do something, right, you can change someone's life. And that's what this is all about. Just do something, right? Do something to make someone's life better. Have some empathy, change your perspective, learn, ask questions, talk to people, and then go help change their life.
And
right?
it doesn't have to cost you anything. It
doesn't.
literally doesn't have
It
to.
can be a conversation.
It can. Right? But I mean, even beyond a conversation, it's just I'm here. And if you do need it, because most homeless people, if you ask them what they'll tell you nothing. They'll tell you they're fine, and they'll tell you they don't need anything.
Yeah.
I mean, mostly.
Mhm.
They'll say no, I'm good because I didn't trust or believe that anyone would.
Yep.
So I just pick, I'm good, I'm fine. I'll figure it out. That was how many times I'll figure it out. But I never was. I wasn't. I was, just kicking against the pricks. And, unfortunately, I was a prick myself, otherwise I probably wouldn't have ended up in that situation, until I start to humble myself and cut that ego out. There's my side of things that that I have to be aware of and presence to and work on as well. But that's neither here nor there, but just be aware that even though I'm homeless, even though I don't have a job, I don't pay my own cell phone bill at this point, that even though I'm not those things, I'm not stupid or not aware of myself. I'm aware of myself and I'm presence to how I ended up there. But the weight of the world seemingly on your shoulders, even if it's just psychologically, I mean, your mind is your world, whether you want it to be or not, because everything that you think is real is your perception of the world. It's not real. It's an idea that you've implanted in here that you could change, but you can only change it if you have other people buy in. You know what I mean?
Yes. Thank you for sharing everything you have and your experience. And we need a part 2. We need a follow-up, right? You have more to say.
I talk to like 2 people a week. And so when I do, I just dump it all out. Right?
Well, it's all good stuff. Thank you, everybody, for watching and tuning in and listening to Matt's story. We are super excited to see where Matt's story goes, and we encourage everyone watching to do something to help people, whether that's Matt or whether that's other people in similar situations, those around you. There's always someone you can help, and you always have. Everyone's a philanthropist. It's not necessarily financially, but everyone can do something. Maybe it's a conversation. Maybe it's a resource. Maybe it's your network, right? Whatever it may be, you can do something to change someone's life. Help us continue to change Matt's life and make this a better world.
Go to DI and buy him a pair of shoes and just leave it next to their, sleeping bag. It's that easy, and it costs you $4, absolutely nothing. And you can do while they're passed out, drunk, whatever. You can go over and get their shoe size, just without them even knowing. I mean, it's just things like this that really they do make such a huge difference.
Absolutely.
So thank you, everyone, honestly, for all the help. And I know that there's so many people out here in Provo that can't be named, that aren't named, that are doing things with their left hand and not letting their right hand know what they're doing, type of thing. And
absolutely.
And just know that I'm that I'm grateful and I recognize it. So thank you.
And Matt, the viewers, people have seen your story. We've raised close to $5,000 for you to help you get help, to help you get stable housing, help you get back on your feet, get a job, and live your dream life. And we're going to change your life, and we're going to help you do it and enable you to change your life. And everyone's eager to see where you can take it, and everyone's cheering you on, and doing something about it as well. So thanks, everyone, for watching. Continue to follow Matt's story, and we're grateful for all the support, and we'll see you guys on the next episode. Thanks.